able to is amazing. So that's all the questions we had gotten ahead of time. Who had a question that they would like to ask the panel? Anybody? I know you have them, but what? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I would like to ask Phil what kind of a turnout he has at his meetings. How many people are involved?
At the college campuses, we typically get a lot of people on our email list at the beginning of the year, usually about 100 people, and then we get about 20% of those to show up regularly at different times throughout the year. But you gotta remember, my group was just one group. There were 4 conservative groups on Washington University's campus. And there's like 2 or 3 on each one, so.
The paper doesn't ever say anything about any of that.
Who's that?
The newspaper. No, I didn't even know that Washington U had anything like it. I mean, St. Louis University certainly doesn't do a good job.
We're going to work on that. Stand up one more time, Phil. And you are still doing this, but what keeps you doing this? Because you are young, and most people your age are more interested in their social life and this and that. But what is it? Because you really believe that we're losing our freedom, or is it something that really interests you, or do you have a lot of friends doing it?
It's a combination of all 3. I think our growing debt and deficit is a very real threat for my future. And I do love politics, and all my friends love politics, so it's really an easy decision for me.
Did you grow up in a conservative home?
No, I don't know. My mom's over there. I mean, they weren't really politically interested.
I just wondered, are any of you worried about when you graduate, will there be a job out there for you?
Well, I just graduated, and there isn't one for me yet. You know?
That's what I wonder if
Yeah.
that is one of the things you can discuss, because there should be a job waiting for you before you even graduate.
There are a lot of people who supported Obama last time around, but have since graduated and found out that the grass isn't so green.
Yeah,
Or even if they want to be business owners, if they want to be entrepreneurs.
they can't.
You can't get loans.
They can't have loans.
No.
Yes, sir.
I had a question for the young gentleman there. Has there been a lot of, from the non-conservatives, a lot of backlash or?
Yeah, we definitely get marginalized. These student papers basically exist to attack conservative students time and time again. Just search my name, you'll find all sorts of terrible blogs and articles written about me. If you read online, I'm a really bad guy.
Teachers, do they?
Well, yeah, you may have seen that I exposed several professors at the University of Missouri who were recruiting for the Communist Party in class, and were encouraging people to commit industrial sabotage, and the school thanked me by trying to bring me in and discipline me, and tried to go get to WashU to discipline me as well. We have a lot of emails that'll be coming out this week on biggovernment.com that they sent the Missouri Department of Higher Education, all sorts of really mean lies about me, and all these liberal blogs they were forwarding on that were written about me that were completely untrue. The students and the universities, they're definitely in cahoots to attack conservative students. We've dealt with it all the time.
What do you do?
Hold on just a minute. Did you have a question, Abe?
Yeah, for Paul. Paul, could you describe maybe the most effective trait or characteristic of an effective lobbyist who visited you, aka advocates?
Yeah, what they do is, there's a couple things that they do that are really effective. They got their issue, and they'll have a brief description, really short, really simple. They'll just put some bullet points on it. They don't give you a book to read. They just give you a couple things to think about, and they make sure it's in your mailbox in the morning. So as soon as you get to the Capitol, you get this. You got these bills coming up they're going to be voting on. Well, here's a little bit of information. And most of us, I can't speak for anybody else, but I usually look at a little bit of stuff, at least so I know what the opposition might be arguing. But it's in the mailbox. That information's on my desk. And then on top of that, the same person that dropped that off in my mailbox, that had it put in my mailbox, he'll either come to my office or he'll pull me off the House floor to talk to me face to face about the flyer that he put in my mailbox. It's just regular business practices. You get something in the mail from I I almost said Walmart. I don't know. Nobody ever calls me to sell me anything, but you know, you get something in the mail. Somebody wants to paint your house, so he sends you a letter. And then a week later, he gives you a follow-up phone call. Hey, did you get my letter? That's exactly what they do. Only they'll come to your office, or they'll pull you off the floor, and then they'll talk about it, ask if you had any questions, and they'll talk you through the issue.
Do the good ones tend to be rather cordial, or are they rather combative?
They're paid. They're all going to be very cordial because they're not in the business of making enemies, which is another lesson that people in this conservative movement need to familiarize themselves with, because there's a few people just a couple people I don't think quite have that down yet. But we can't be in the business of making enemies, because as soon as we do that, then you're not going to get anywhere. Once you burn a bridge, you're not getting anywhere.
Marshall?
Yes, perhaps you just covered it, but not to my satisfaction. I've heard that politicians are bought and paid for. Now, I think probably in Missouri, this has been tied down pretty tightly now, I think. I think in the federal government, that is not probably true. And I see the bank accounts of them when they go into office and the bank accounts when they come out of office. But additionally, what is the effectiveness of my messages to you? Email, phone call, or letter? Which is the best? Email is much the easiest, and compared to this lobbyist that's there face to face.
Sure. Just to make sure I understand your question correctly, you're asking what is the most effective: phone calls, emails, or letters?
That's true, but also bought and paid for.
The bought and paid for question. Okay, I'll address the bought and paid for question first. Politicians will be bought and paid for. Statesmen won't. Okay, a politician. Back in 2008, I was watching the presidential debate. This is the best scenario I know to illustrate this, because once I saw this happen, it actually happened to me, so I used exactly what one of the presidential candidates did. There was a presidential candidate that got a contribution from the KKK. And so somebody questioned him about it and said, hey, you got a contribution from the KKK, that means you're a racist. So in other words, you're in the pocket of the KKK. And this candidate for president said, no, I'm not. He said, my message is always the same, it's always consistent, and it's a direct reflection, my voting record is a direct reflection of my principles and my beliefs. He said, I'll take anybody's money, I'll take the KKK's money to help me get my message of freedom and liberty out. And I totally see where he's going, because also, had he wrote a check back to the KKK, then they would have come after him and said, hey, you're supporting the KKK. So when you get into one of those situations, it's almost unwinnable unless you just stick with your message of liberty. And as long as you actually live up to that and you're a statesman, the whole idea of being bought and paid for, whether it's the KKK or just some lobbyist, none of that matters. And now what happened to me was when I was running for state representative, there was an alderman in one of the cities who sent me $400. Well, this alderman had a whole lot of problems. He was doing a whole bunch of stuff that he was legal, he could do it, but ethically probably wasn't a good idea. But I needed $400. I needed to buy some yard signs. So I put his money into my campaign account, and when they came to a town hall meeting, because they wanted to call me out on that, and I said, let me tell you something, I'll take money from him, I'll take money from Walmart, but just because I take money from a cashier at Walmart does not mean that I'm in the pocket of Walmart. You see, the money is what is the grease that you need to make sure that you have a well-functioning machine, because my goal is to get elected. Now, if he tells me, I'll give you $400 if you do this, and then I do that, if my whole motivation for all my actions revolves around who I can get money from, that's wrong. That's unethical. That's a politician. But what I'm trying to say is you can't necessarily look at the bank accounts that some people have and decide whether or not they're a good person or they're a bad person based on who sends them money. You have to say,